Hey everyone, welcome to 1732 Streaming's Freedom Circuit. I'm Streaming John, and we've got a good show for you guys today. Before we get started here, if you guys don't mind, give us a follow at Streaming John on Facebook and Instagram, and you can also follow us at 1732 Streaming on Rumble, YouTube, TikTok, and X. I need to update that graphic there. And also, if you don't mind, during the show or anytime that you happen to watch this on any platform, give us a comment. We really do appreciate that. Shows engagement, helps the algorithm out, and helps push the show around a little bit too. And also, whatever platform you happen to be watching on, give us a thumbs up, like whatever the case may be, whatever platform you're on. And the Rumble wallet is out right now. So if you feel like we're doing a good job and you want to tip the show, all the money goes back into the show so I can keep producing for you guys. You can see it in Rumble, and if you go to the channel and you look at the top, there's a tip jar there, and it tips in electronic currency like Bitcoin and stuff. You could pick whatever one. It all goes back to the show. It all comes back to me. It doesn't go anywhere else. No banks or anything like that. So I'd appreciate it. And if not, that's okay. You can still tip your favorite content creators on Rumble using the tip jar if you happen to be watching someone else as well. So let's go ahead and get started here. Let's get into the show. By the way, America, let's go, guys, right here. Support our troops. But yeah, let's get the show started here real quick. So let's go ahead and start with, let's start with our Freedom Circuit Sports Update. Still loving the new graphics here. All right, sports fans. So let's take a look at NASCAR here real quick. NASCAR, we raced at a couple places. So with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, Shane Van Gisbergen, I'm sorry, that's not Shane. Layne Riggs, he wins the Only Bulls Green Flag 150 at St. Petersburg. First time they did a road course in the Truck Series. I watched it. It was a lot of fun. The IndyCar Series also raced on that afterwards. So the Truck Series was not following the rest of NASCAR that week, so they raced in St. Petersburg. Good race. I hope they do it again. If we go into the O'Reilly Auto Parts, so we are going to move to, I can't remember where they raced. Where did they race? Oh, Circuit of the Americas, Austin, Texas. So yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen, no shocker there. He's a road course guy. He takes the win in that one. I believe that was his fifth or sixth win in a row on a road course. So good for him. He also raced in the Cup Series, although he did not win. Speaking of the Cup Series, Tyler Reddick wins the NASCAR Cup Series race at the Circuit of the Americas. His third straight win, 23-11, kicking ass over there, guys. Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin owners, probably having a good time. That is the first time that a NASCAR driver has won 3 Cup races in a row at the start of a season. So he made history there. So let's see what maybe he gets a 4th win. That'd be pretty cool. I don't mind 23XI. I don't mind Tyler Reddick. I'm a Denny Hamlin fan who finished 10th, by the way, for you local Virginians. He's from Chesterfield, Virginia. He took 10th, which is his best win ever at Circuit of the Americas. He's not really a big road course driver. He's a oval driver. So actually, if you watch his interview, he was actually pretty surprised at his 10th place finish, and he was very pleased with that. So I'm at Denny all the way, man. Let's go, Denny. I hope he can make it all the way to the championship this year with their new format based on points. So, all right. Well, that's really all I have for the sports update. Maybe next week I'll throw IndyCar in there, and then we have UFL coming up the end of this month, and we'll start updating on that too. Who is your favorite team, by the way, for the UFL? DC Defenders all the way here, and I'd like to hear from you guys. So that is our sports update. All right, moving on here. All right, so let's get into politics, which is what this show is all about. So we're going to start off with the State of the Union address. I'll know, put in some comments, guys. Let me know if you guys watched it. I'd really like to hear from you guys. Let me know, what did you think about the State of the Union address? Now, I have watched multiple State of the Union addresses going back probably, I would say, to Obama. I've been pretty committed in watching them and watching them in their entirety. I actually watched the live stream with a lot with Crowder, so they offer some commentary and stuff. Makes it just a little bit more entertaining than just watching the State of the Union address. But let me know what you guys thought about it. I thought it was an excellent State of the Union address, man. If you watched that, you felt good about being an American. Period. It was absolutely fantastic. But a couple things that I want to cover there with the State of the Union, some highlights. Uh, so one of the things I'm going to play a clip here for you. President Trump asked Congress to stand if they believed in something. So I want you to take a look at this clip and let me know what you think here. Let's go ahead and pull that up here real quick. All right, let's watch this here. What do you guys think about this? Let me put it on full screen for you.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
So what you'll notice looking at this right here is you'll see that over here, this is the GOP for the most part, Republicans, conservatives. And over here are apparently the jackass Democrats. And, it doesn't look like they're standing and applauding. I guess they don't believe in protecting Americans first. So I find that very interesting. Let's go ahead and finish the clip here. So this was his longest standing ovation of the night, was this right here. Now, another thing, we'll go ahead and fast forward because it's like a 2-minute standing ovation, which I actually agree on here. You can see him here like, why the hell are these guys not standing up for their own country? They're supposed to be supporting their constituents. Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Let's see here. Oh, here's this guy. Oh, man, I think I screwed up. Maybe I should have stood up for this, or I'm just a jackass, whatever. Still, standing ovation. I like this lady right here in the red standing all by herself. I appreciate that. I don't know if she's a Democrat, but she's kind of standing by herself over there.
Isn't that a shame? You should be ashamed of yourself, not
Absolutely.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
So yeah, there's that clip right there. What do you guys think about that? I obviously have a problem with that. I don't understand why the Democrats can't even, stand for their own people. That just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I just don't get it. Um, you're supposed to, as a United States senator or representative, your first duty and obligation should be to the people of the United States at the end of the day, right? We have to take care of our own first before we can do anything else. That's just logic right there at the end of the day. You have to take care of your own before you can do anything else. And these people aren't even willing to stand to commit to that. That tells you where the priorities are. That speech right there was in reference to immigration, obviously. So why do these people want to protect immigrants more than they want to protect their own constituents? Well, they don't want to lose votes with the radical left. That's what that really is at the end of the day. We know that. Everybody knows that. It's just those guys are a bunch of jackasses at the end of the day. Let me know what you guys think about that. One of the other things that they decided to not stand up for, if you're sensing a theme here, is I want to make sure I get her name right. I always butcher it. Irina Zarutska. So she was the one that was killed by the individual. I believe it was on a bus in one of the Carolinas. I can't remember exactly, but I want you to watch this video too. This just shows you how disgusting these assholes are. So let's go ahead and pull that up here real quick for you guys. Here it is right here. You can already see that that's a crying mother, which is just heartbreaking. So let's watch it here on a little bit bigger screen.
Over a dozen times and was released through no cash bail. Stood up and viciously slashed a knife through her neck and body. No one will ever forget there were people on that train. No one will ever forget the expression of terror on Irina's face as she looked up at her attacker in the last seconds of her life. She died instantly. She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zarutska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina.
So there's Erica Kirk right there, victim of leftist violence, and then this Irina's mother. Truly sad for both of them. If I remember correctly, when I watched this live, I don't know if they'll show it. The camera doesn't pan out to This was covered. This particular coverage was from CNN. Um, and they didn't pan to show the Democrats not standing, but you will see Trump's reaction to it. So I think that's actually important. And of course, CNN is not going to cover their own people not standing for something this important. So this poor mother can't even get the support of her own representatives.
How do you not stand? How do you not stand? I'm asking this Congress to.
Yeah, I think his reaction is absolutely appropriate for that. I don't understand how they can't stand for that. That's something that everybody should be able to stand for, no matter where you line up on the political agenda. Like, this woman's daughter was murdered savagely, and we're acknowledging that it was done by somebody who should have never been out on the streets to begin with because of Democrat policies. And these assholes can't stand up and at least recognize that she's having to go through that tough time. It is absolutely ridiculous. These are these for those of you on the left, right, center, and center. Listen, center. This is for you guys on the right. You guys, if you don't want to listen, that's okay on this one. This is the true left. They do not care about you. You are just a pawn in the game at the end of the day. You are a means to vote, and that is it. They do not care about you. If they cared about you, at the very least, no matter what policies they propose, they would have stood up and clapped their hands and at least showed that woman some love, even though their policies are the ones that got her daughter brutally murdered. So remember that when you go to vote at the end of the day, try not to be a single issue voter. All right. If you have a problem with, the rights views on abortion or something like that, try not to be a single issue voter. All right. Build a column, do spreadsheet, do, pros and cons and research what actually is going on. I think you guys would be surprised. But yeah, and one of the comments that he actually made. Now I can't remember if it was the previous clip when he asked him to stand for, protecting Americans or Irina Zarutska. I can't remember which clip. It got clipped off there. He even looks at the Democrats and he says, these people are crazy. He is right. Those people are crazy. They are radical leftists that want to absolutely destroy this country at the end of the day. They are crazy. So I really enjoyed the State of the Union watching it. Our president absolutely gave no quarter to the Democrats. He laid it out there and he laid out all the facts. And if you go back and watch some of the other like MSNBC or MSNB Now or whatever the hell they're called, and CNN and stuff like that, when they're doing their fact checking, they actually had to say that a lot of the things that he said were correct, especially when it pertains to the economy and stuff like that. You can go back and check that out yourself. Turns out things are a lot better than you would believe if you just only watched leftist news sources. So pay attention, guys. Pay attention. So, all right, well, that's that. Let's move into one of our segments here, the Virginia Update. All right, I'm going to update that animation eventually just because I want it to look more like Virginia. My AI software, I only get a certain amount of credits every month because, hey, one-man show here, I'm paying for everything. So I only get a certain amount of credits to do videos, and I've maxed it out with all these new stingers and stuff like that. So, all right, Virginia update, guys. All right, so I thought this was funny. I actually woke up to this morning. Today is what I say it was the 3rd. So I woke up this morning the 3rd, and usually when I get up, I kind of try to scroll Facebook and check the news and stuff, even before I get out of bed to see if there's anything breaking going on. And I saw this X post by Department of Homeland Security about Virginia's governor, and I really like it. So here, let's pull that up real quick here. Let me pull that up for you guys. I think you'll find it interesting and also hilarious at the same time. Here we go. Okay, so let's make it just a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, so what it says from the Department of Homeland Security. Sanctuary Act Governor Virginia is fighting to protect a murderer over American citizens. This monster is responsible for fatally stabbing Stephanie Minter. ICE does not need judicial warrants to make arrests. The heroes of ICE will continue to arrest and remove criminal illegal aliens. What they're referring to is that if you weren't following the news, there was a stabbing on one of our major interstates here in Virginia, I believe it was 495. It's just outside of DC. We call it the Beltway. And there was just a stabbing spree. Essentially, I don't know. I don't have all the facts. Turns out this guy shouldn't have been here. Had already had issues, and now the ICE is trying to get this guy deported, but he's currently sitting in Virginia's jails, our jails, unfortunately. I live in Virginia right now, and they're not going to release him, to ICE right now. So the issue that exists is potentially if he gets out, he's going to get released right back in the streets, and Virginia's not going to notify ICE that he's back on the streets, so where they can catch him right at the door when they let him out of jail, because our governor, I say that loosely, decided that she sent out a executive order, Virginia executive order, that law enforcement in Virginia will not participate with ICE. Essentially, I showed that in a previous episode. You can go back and look at it. Hence, making the streets not as safe in Virginia as they were, before she took office. So, all right. So that's our governor, Aaron, Virginia. I'm sorry, Virginians, man. I feel bad for us. It's absolutely horrible. She's a complete jackass, and I don't even understand why we keep doing this. Virginia, why do we keep going back to this? Why do we keep reelecting Democrats? Why do we keep doing this up and down? Oh, I know what it is. It's Northern Virginia, right? That's where all the government people live and stuff like that. If we can just shrink the government, get rid of those assholes, we would probably have a better chance of being a red state. But Virginia, man, it's like it's a self-inflicted wound every time we get Democrats here into office, and we've got to stop it, man. It is absolutely killing the state. So let's move into the next thing here in Virginia. Let's see here. I'm just trying to see if I don't think I have a clip for you guys on that one. So in Virginia, and of course we have Newsmax there in the bottom corner in case there's some breaking news that we want to hop into. So also, just as a friendly reminder, in Virginia, make sure that we vote no on gerrymandering. The election is on April 21st. So whatever you got to do to get to the polls, if you have early voting, go vote no. Absolutely not. Do not destroy our representation in the state of Virginia just to get back at the Orange Man bad. All right, that's what they're doing. They even said that's what they're doing. I played clips in the previous episodes. They've even come out and said that it's a temporary redistricting to keep the national elections fair. You should not care about the national elections, representatives of Virginia. You should care about your constituents and representing them. So this gerrymandering thing is absolutely ridiculous, heinous, and do everything you can. Tell your friends, share this video clip. If you want to cut it and just do this little segment, send to your friends. I don't care. You have full permission to use these videos however you want. I'm saying it on air so you can do whatever you want to do with them and let your friends know. We have to vote no. If you have some people that can't get to the polls, help them. All right, help them. Help your friends get to the polls and vote for this. We have got to stop this dead in its tracks. And if we can do that, there is a little bit of hope for Virginia in the very near future, I think. If we don't, then I'm really worried about Virginia for the next 15 to 20 years. So that right there is your Virginia update. We are going to be moving on. All right, so we're going to move into another thing here. We're just going to touch on this. It's going to be pretty quick. It's not going to be, it's not going to be a long segment here, but we're going to talk about the great state of Texas. I am from Texas right here. I got the Alamo tattooed on my arm and the great state of Texas right there on my wrist. All right. I live in Virginia. I was born and raised in Texas. I got a lot of family in Texas. I go there a couple times a year to say hi to everybody and spend time with them. So we'll cover Texas. All right. So there were some primaries in Texas that just took place, and there are some pretty interesting results, actually. So the Democrat Senate primary just took place, and then you have James Talarico. So these are both Democrats. James Talarico defeats Jasmine Crockett in one of the high-profile races. Their redistricting caused these two to be in the same district. So Jasmine Crockett is an asshole. She is absolutely useless. Now the other guy's a Democrat too, so I mean, whatever. When it comes down to out of the primaries and gets into the elections, we need to make sure we get voting a Republican down there in Texas. But Jasmine Crockett is a nutbag. Go back and watch some of her clips. No matter what it is, it's always racist. No matter what, it doesn't matter. Math is racist. The sky is racist. It doesn't matter to her. Everything is racist. And she even, I don't want to see those white boys cry. That's one of one of her comments. I wish I had that clip for you. I'm sorry, I don't. I actually watched it this morning. So look up Jasmine Crockett. You can just see how crazy nutbag she is. I'm not saying the other guy's not a nutbag, but I think he's less than a nutbag than she is. Again, we still need to make sure when the elections come around, Texans, that you don't vote him in, you vote the Republican in. And speaking of Republicans, Senator John uh, Cornyn, Senator John Cornyn, is pushed to run off into a GOP runoff with Attorney General Ken Paxton after neither one of them clears 50%. So what that means is in Texas they're going to have another elections between the two. I think it's in May. I can't remember off the top of my hat. Um, I'm not familiar with Cornyn. I am slightly familiar with Paxton. I've seen him on a couple of the shows that I watch. He seems fairly reasonable. But I'm not going to put out an endorsement for either one of them. I'm not very familiar with them. What I would say to anybody that's watching in Texas, research your candidates, make sure they line up with free speech, the Second Amendment, and DEI policies and all that good stuff. Texas, you got some good things going for you guys. You do have school choice down there, which we do not have in Virginia. Unfortunately, we will not have in Virginia now for sure because of our jackass governor, Democrat taking office. School choice will not be an option now. But yeah, so just research that and make sure that the candidates line up with those items and make sure that they line up with you guys. So that's all I'm going to say there on Texas. So another one here. This is a good one. Longtime Democrat Representative Al Green faced off with Christian Menifee, I think I'm saying, after redistricting puts them both in the same. And it looks like they're headed to a runoff as well. Now, I don't know Christian Menifee, but Al Green, I have some clips about him. They're both probably crazy, but he's probably the craziest of them all. So let's go ahead and pull up a video clip with this jackass here real quick. Let me show you what he's got there. All right. So this is Al Green during the State of the Union. He was holding up a sign that said, "Black people are not apes." Yeah, he's one of those guys. He was also the in the previous State of the Union. He was the one that so he got escorted out for this State of the Union, and for the previous State of the Union, he was escorted out as well because he was just being rowdy and not showing decorum. Um, which I watched that one as well. So that guy's crazy. He's a nutbag. The other guy's probably a nutbag too. They're both Democrats, but I think it would just be fun to make sure that he doesn't win just because he seems like he's a little bit more of a jackass than everybody else. So yeah, so that is the Texas primary update. Again, don't have much more than that for you guys. I have friends and family down there, so I wanted to throw some love at you guys and give you guys a segment there. All right, moving on to the next thing here. Okay, big news, right? We all know about this. The Iran conflict, war, whatever you want to call it, has now started. So here's a couple things. Everybody's like, United States is starting a war. Why are they starting a war? It's something that's new that just started, and the United States is attacking first or something like that. Wrong. You're absolutely wrong. This has been going on for 47 years. Iran has been after the United States for 47 years. It started with the hostage taking, and then we have decades of proxy strikes on Americans there in Afghanistan and all that good stuff with roadside bombs and our allies. Uh, this is not an isolated incident. We have been at war with them for 47 years. We just have a president now that's willing to do something about it. Negotiations fell apart. They were trying to negotiate, and the line in the sand was Iran can't have nuclear bombs, and they just really weren't willing to commit to that. And they admitted to having some, I can't remember how many kilograms or whatever it was, but they had some nuclear material that could eventually be used for nuclear bombs and ICBMs and all that good stuff, which led to now the conflict. And the United States is kicking ass. Day one, killed their leader and 40 other leaders. Day two, killed their backup leaders. Day three, I think we killed their backup to the backup leaders. They tried to have a conference and Israel bombed the shit out of them. So, this is a no nonsense war. We finally have a president that is willing to let the United States to go in and do what they need to do. No rules of engagement. Get the job done. To win a war, you have to win a war. Nobody wants civilian casualties. Nobody. But that is an unfortunate reality of war, and that's the only way that you're going to win sometimes. Now, I know the United States does everything they can to minimize those casualties. We're probably one of the few nations that actually does. Iran sure as hell doesn't. It kills their own damn people. So, that's that conflict right there. It's we and Israel are devastating right now. Iran, their navy doesn't exist anymore. They got rid of all their ships have been sunk to the bottom of the sea. Their air force is pretty much obliterated at this point. And as you saw, Iran in retaliation just started launching missiles all over the place. I don't know what the motivation was behind that. I don't know if they were trying to get those other nations that they were striking to, fear or terrorism or something, maybe where they wouldn't retaliate back. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, we're just bombing the crap out of them and just making their life absolutely miserable. Um, and there's some contrast. I want you guys to be aware of some contrast here. I want to show you, first of all, I want to show you where our War Department stands right now on how we deal with enemies now. So let me pull that up for you guys real quick.
Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel.
All right, so there you go. He makes a good point, right? They've been chanting death to America and death to Israel for years, and I'm not necessarily a special case for Israel. I'm just stating facts here. Really, we went in there and we gave them the death they so deserved. This War Department is absolutely no nonsense. Now, I want you to see a contrast between Kamala Harris, President Biden, and Donald Trump in reference to how they viewed and handled Iran. So here, let's pull this up. You'll find this interesting here. This one is funny. So let's see here.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
What is your message to Iran in this moment?
Don't.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. It's true. I don't care. I don't care.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
I'm going to bomb the shit out of them. By the way, if you go back and look at all of his video clips, he has held that viewpoint pretty much going back to the early 2000s. He's always kind of held that, that outlook on Iran and stuff like that. He knows that Iran's been a problem for years and years and years. Like I said, 47 years. This is not a new conflict. We just have a president now that's actually trying to stop it and not give money to the regime, to the Ayatollah, to the Houthis and all those guys. So, yeah. Well, guys, that's all I have for you today. What do we have here? 30-minute show almost exactly. If you don't mind, I really would appreciate it if you could follow us at Streaming John on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also follow us at 1732 Streaming on TikTok, Rumble, and X. Like I said, I got to update that graphic. And also, if you don't mind, drop some comments if you happen to go back and watch this on demand or something like that. And please don't forget about the Rumble wallet. If you think we're doing good, there's a tip jar on my channel on Rumble. So if you're on the other platforms, go over to Rumble and you can tip me. And it's at the top of the channel. It says tip jar. I really would appreciate it. Everything goes back into the show. That's what's going to pay for these, graphics and green screens and stuff like that I've started doing. If you go back and look at my previous episodes, I didn't have a lot of this technology that I have now. But if not, that's okay. You can also just tip your favorite creators. There's some game streamers and stuff on Rumble and stuff like that. And also, don't forget to give us a like on any of the platforms that you happen to be watching on. That helps the algorithm out and push this show. And also, keep an eye out for us on YouTube Shorts. And now, Rumble has Rumble Shorts. So you can go back and watch those as well. I post there as well. All right, guys, keep your head on a swivel. Stay safe. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.